What's up, dudes? Today I'm going to show you a little bit about video screens and how to pause and unpause them and how to have them in sync for everyone in your lobby. Now, the main issue people encounter with video screens is widescreening. That can be one of two things. It can be a certificate issue or it can be a desync issue. Desync usually solves itself, so that shouldn't really be it. So 90%, if not more, comes from a certificate issue. I'll link this in somewhere, I hope. Basically, if you check on Reddit, there is a tutorial on how to fix music/video/audio in Club Worlds. That applies to anything with video screen players in VRC. Basically, what it means is there is something called a YouTube certificate thing. This thread explains how to fix all of that. I'm not going to get into that right now. But you need to reset or just delete the certificate so YouTube doesn't block you from watching a video. That's got to do with region locks, and it's got to do with a whole lot of things about certificates that YouTube is blocking you from seeing. So that's the first thing you want to get into. And if anyone in your server or one of your friends is trying to watch your screen as widescreening, they are going to need to do that themselves. This is not a server issue. This is a client issue. So you can fix it for yourself, the widescreening, but you can't fix it for the people watching. They will have to fix it for themselves, sadly. Yeah, that's the desync and widescreening issue out of the way right there. If it's desynced, I'm going to go through how you can get everything in sync properly through this tutorial. So the first thing you want to know about screens. If you check in your assets folder in your project, there is the VRC SDK. If you've not imported that yet, then what are you doing on this video? I don't even know. Get yourself the SDK from the website like you should. If you check in the prefabs on the SDK and then in World, there is the video screen. Okay. It's called Video Sync, by the way, but yeah, that's your screen. You want to drag and drop that in. You do not want to make an object and add the screen component to it. You want to use the prefab. That's got everything set up that you want and need. Setting it up yourself is going to be massive of a hassle. You don't want to do that. Just don't do it. Simple. What I did personally is behind my screen, I put a little bit of a black screen to have it look like there's a screen there, even if it's disabled. Don't have to do that. That's just the way I like it. In order for RPC things like play, etc. to work, your screen has to be on when you join the server. Okay, so if you have this disabled, the buttons might not work. It might in some instances, but some of the RPC functions won't work. So you want this enabled on your server launch, or on your first join, if you will. The way I set up mine, I just left this empty, the video player URL. You don't need that. I put it on play on awake, and I put it on wait for first frame. I think that's standard, but just go with that anyways. Then there is also the sync video player script. That basically means it syncs it up to the host. So whoever joins first or starts the lobby is the game host, and the game host is basically responsible for where in the video you are watching the video. He is the one everyone syncs up with. The way that works, the sync video, well, you put your link in here. You can up the count and add more videos, so it's basically like a playlist, but I've just put it to one. I'm using one video and want to sync it up to the host, so that's why I'm using that. Simple. Okay, that out of the way. Simple. You would just put the link there, put it on one. Done. That's the screen. Already done. You can mess with the sound settings a little bit, like I did, but you don't have to copy my settings. Just put it on whatever you like. Audio is an whole other topic that I'm not going to get into right now because it's going to take a lot of time. But you can mess with that if you want. Next thing I did is I made a quick toggle button, just a cube with a collider, obviously, so that the trigger works. Then I added the trigger with an on interact, always on buffered, set game object, active VRC video sync as the receiver, and on toggle. So if I'm the host, I'm going to join the server and I'm going to toggle the screen off, wait for my mates to join, and I'm going to turn it back on. Once again, the host is responsible for how far along the video you're watching. If you don't toggle it off and people join late with the way I've set it up, they will just see what the host is seeing, decently synced like this. That's nice. That's all this one does. Then I've got two buttons here. One is called the speed down. That reduces the speed of the video playing rate. Then I've got another button, which is the speed up, which increases the speed the video is playing at. Since pause doesn't work, well, pause does work, but then the play doesn't work or something like that. I can't really remember how it is, but the opposite commands are a little bit fidgety and they just don't want to work. So what I went ahead and did is I tried and fidgeted around with what is the way that these things work. What are these slowdown increments? I found out that one increment of send RPC speed down is 0.1. Makes sense to me. So then I found out that if you have 10 increments, it basically makes 1.0 in total. So this one goes down 0.1, this one goes down 0.1, etc. That means we're down 1.0, then the video pauses. So if I have -1 of video playing rate, the video stops and stands still. Then I did the reverse and have it speed up on the other button. So this is also like empty game objects, by the way. I'll get into it a little bit more. But if you increase the speed with 0.1 10 times, you get 0.1 again. Or 1.0, pardon me. And what that does is unpause the video. So what I did, it's really crude and it looks really bad, but it works. And if it works, I'm a happy lad. So, okay, here we go. First thing I made is a empty game object. Oh no, actually, this is the button. Never mind, that's just a cube with a collider so that the trigger works, with a onInteract script and an onTimer script. I'll put them both on local because the game host, once again, is responsible for where you are in the video. It can be on local. You only have to have it triggered by one person. If this is not on local, it's going to count the amount of players and trigger it that many times. So instead of increasing it by 1.0 in total, if there's 3 players, it's gonna increase the speed by 3. Don't ask me why. It's just like that. That's how the SDK works, I'm afraid. But yeah, that's why I put it on local. For the first one, like I already said, you want to have a trigger that is on enable and local and have it send RPC in the action on speed down. The method's right here, by the way, if you want to look that up. And then target the owner. What I also did for this one is activate the second empty object, speed down, and have that operation on true right here. Okay, so these are all disabled. Once you hit the button, which is this one, that is set game object active. Wow, my words today are shit. That's going to activate the first one, just like that. And that also, I'll get into that a little bit later on why I did that. So that's basically the train. This one activates the second one, this one activates the third one, etc. They activate each other all the way up to 10. And each one of them has a decreaser on the speed down. All of them. Now, you might have noticed that I've put 2 scripts on the very first increment thing, and that's going to set false on the speed down, on this button here. It's going to deactivate the entire button. And this doesn't make sense yet, but I'll get to that, be patient. Going down all the way to the list, on the final one, you can see it also has 2 different triggers. All the ones in between only have the one trigger with the 2 actions, set the next person or the next object active and decrease the speed. But the first and last have an extra one, have an extra trigger. So the first is going to set the button to false. The last is going to set the same button active again. Why am I doing that? Basically because this is set on true, the onInteract script and the onTimer scripts. It can only be triggered once. Because true is true, it's not a toggle, and the toggle won't work because the toggling won't reset all of these. So this needs to be deactivated and reactivated to be able to be pressed multiple times. So once again, on the first one, I have 2 triggers. I've got 1 extra, which deactivates it at first, and on the final one, reactivates it, so it resets its state. Okay, cool. So that goes all the way down the list. Then basically what is happening, all of these are activated. So what I have on my speed down button on my second script, This also has two scripts. Well, it's one script with two interactions basically. The first one's the on interact for the first game object, and the second is an on timer, also local, that resets on enable. That's important. You want to check that one. I'll put the low period time on 0.1, the high period time 0.2. That means it triggers between 0.1 seconds and 0.2 seconds. And what it triggers is it sets all of them false again. So what the rundown is, once you hit this button here, first thing it's going to do is set this one active, this button here, which in turn makes the train go, which sets all of these active in turn, which all of them decreases the play amount by 0.1. Simple as that. Then the first one toggles this one off, and the second one, or like the last one I mean, turns it back on again. So that gets reset, and also this one resets the entirety of that. Now the speed up trigger is the exact same thing, only the opposite. So you've got the speed up cube here, which is the trigger. It's got an on interact on local, which activates the first one to activate that train to go, and has a on timer to deactivate all of that, set it all to false, and then you've got yourself all the triggers. This is just an empty object once again, just to group it and make it easy to look at what you're doing. The first one, once again, send the opc speed up, all on enable and on local. Set game object, the next one, trigger it, and the two scripts on the very first one and on the last one, and all the ones in between are just the one script with the send opc and the set game object active, which once again activates the train, goes down like that. What you can do, you're just gonna have to fidget with it a little bit, is this object that I have disabled right now. Basically what this is on network ready, always, set game object active, video screen false. What this does is it, as soon as the first person joins the game, or anyone joins the game, it's going to turn the screen off. Now, the reason I made this just to try it out is that I want the screen to be off once you join, so that you can just press the button, hit play, and then the movie starts. Like I said though, if the screen is off at the start, the buttons won't work properly. That's the same for all the RPC commands, they just don't work properly. The one issue with this at the moment, and I'm sure you're ingenious enough by now to understand you need to fix things and be creative, the issue is that when you join, the screen's off, and then you turn it on, and then someone else joins late, like 10 minutes into your movie, and the screen turns off again because someone just fucking joined. If you set this to local, you would think that would fix it, so only for you, the late joiner, the screen turns off, but then the rest of the fucking shit doesn't work anymore. You can test around with it. I'm sure you can find a way to fix it. Let me just demonstrate real quick what it looks like and how it works. And it does work in multiplayer. I've tested it with 5 people so far, so you can take my word for it and try it yourself. If it doesn't work, you know where to fucking go. Go to the VRC Discord, VRChat Discord, go to the World's channel and just ask for help there, and that will help you definitely. Okay, so here we are. Like you see, it activates, movie starts playing. There we go. That's all good. I like that. I'm going to turn it off, and it's off. Nice, that works. Turn it back on. There you go. That's a movie. I'm going to use the first button, which is called pause, and we're paused. And he's pinching his eyes. Isn't he pretty? Okay, so when I put it on play, and there it goes again. Beautiful. Put it on pause, and it's paused. Put it on play, and it's playing. Put it on pause. There you go. Okay, so that's working. One thing you want to keep in mind. So if I'm going to drop back into my Unity real quick, I'm going to repeat this because people tend to fuck this up. If you do not put this on local, it's going to fire the amount of times of the people present. So once again, the host is responsible for the video sync. Once I pause this, and even though it's local, like I said, the pause is on local, speed down is on local, I mean. All of these are on local, if you can check that. Local, 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 etc. That's a local pause for the host, but that syncs up for everyone else. Everyone else pauses. If I put this on always buffered 1, it's going to fire the amount of times of people present. It sounds stupid, it is stupid, but that's how it works. The host is responsible for where it is. Keep that in mind. That's basically the end of this tutorial. If you've got any questions, hit up the VRChat Discord, or VRChat Discord, my bad. Join the World's channel and just ask your questions in there. I don't read the comments on my videos much, so there's not much of a point of asking them there. I might get lucky and check it in every now and then, but questions go into the VRC Discord. I hope you are very well gonna do a good job on making your worlds, because I look forward to playing you guys' worlds. The more world creators we have, the more fun we're gonna have. Keep in mind, as you may have noticed, screens are not the easiest thing to set up, so you might wanna stay away from having it be your first project, even though many people do that. It's not the easiest thing to set up. It's somewhat gratifying when you do have it set up. But yeah, one more thing about videos, by the way, you don't have to have a YouTube source. It doesn't have to be YouTube, and it just has to be an MP4 link that works proper with the right codec. So MP4 links work. I think it even starts off, if you drag it in, with an archive link, which is an MP4 link. MP4 videos should work. That should be interesting as well. So yeah, I'll look forward to your creations. I hope it helped. If it didn't help, let me know. If it did help, let me know. That's nice. And yeah, see you in the game, dudes.